Hey, yeah, all right, let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of Watch the Clock. I'm Dom.
I'm Ananth.
And this is Watch the Clock. So last week we met and we talked, and this week we're back to talk about recent happenings in the track world, including the Millrose Games and the Copernicus Cup, as well as Femke Bol's stunning performance in the 400 at Metz. But the main thing that I think we wanted to talk about today was the Millrose Games, which is at the Armory in New York. And, certainly I have fond memories of competing there.
Definitely. One of my best indoor memories for sure.
Hell yeah. And they bill themselves as the world's most prestigious indoor track and field competition. And I think it certainly lived up to the hype. We've got some good results. So what's your standout performance?
I think surprisingly, like I actually don't even follow the distance events that much, but the mile was crazy,
right?
Like the number 2 all time, and like I feel like it came out of nowhere, at least from my perspective.
Yeah.
Ali Hoare was also in that race.
The men's Wanamaker mile, that was an exceptional race. So the dub went to Yared Naguse 3:47:38, which is, like you said, second all time. Certainly the American record. Not far off the world record from what I understand. I think it was 3:47:01 was the mark for that one. So
I think that's right.
Exceptionally close. Really, really, really had like a super strong final 400. Just like absolutely blew everyone out of the water. I mean, we sort of knew that one was going to be a hot contest. We had Ali Hoare in the race, Gorley, sort of all those guys up in the mix. But
I think Ali Hoare and Naguse are like teammates, right? I think they train together. Yeah,
exactly. But at the end of the day, it was the goose got loose. They say.
He did indeed.
So that's pretty sick. Sort of looking forward to him. Again, he's one of the guys that last year in previous years sort of was like running the NCAA circuit, collegiate level. And so I'm pretty sure that this is his first year pro, and this is like super exciting to see what he can do.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I mean, first indoor meet as a pro, and he does this. Definitely spells good things.
Yeah. I actually wanted to highlight, just like super quick, once again, all respect in the world to Aji Wilson. She sort of blew everyone away in the women's 600. It was just one heat. Big names that I recognize from that one is Aji Wilson, of course, and Shamir Little, who runs the 400 hurdles. But I mean, again, Aji Wilson just dominant. 124.85 to Shamir Little, second place, 126.16. So I just a class act all the time. That's who I want to highlight.
That's awesome. And it's great to see that she's doing so well this season. It'll be very exciting to see her in a Thingmu on the same track somewhere in the future.
I was listening to last week's episode again, and for some reason we mentioned the women's 800 without mentioning a Thingmu.
Yeah, I realized that.
Which was really awkward, I feel like. But we've got so many great women in the 800. Of course, we've got Aji Wilson and a Thingmu. And of course, we've also got what's her name? As you know. Freaking hold on. Haley Hodgkinson is her name.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Who we talked about last week as well. But I mean, what an exceptional event. Looking forward to that one later this year. What else we got?
Well, we saw the return of Kristen Coleman in the men's 60.
I
actually had to do a double take because like I didn't see like the video, and I was looking at the results earlier, and I was like, am I looking at the right year? Like, was Coleman actually at this thing? Because
I was about to file a missing persons report for Christian Coleman. So you didn't see the video, huh?
I saw it after that. I saw it, and I saw the false start also.
Yeah,
it's so like the Lyles brothers are not having good luck with those.
Yep. So big story on the day from the men's 60. I'm sure anyone who's listening to this has seen the video from the Millrose Games, but so they in the middle of the track, one of the highlight events, the men's 60, they had Noah Lyles in 5 and Christian Coleman in 4, I think it was. So sort of like top billing right in the middle of the track. And I think as the commentators put it, when you've got the best starter in the world up next, you're going to try and jump the gun as much as you can. And unfortunately, that caught up with Noah. So he false started, still ran under protest and ended up just, didn't beat him either way. He probably, in my opinion, was probably shaken from false starting.
Yeah.
And just could never get into it. But what a race from Christian Coleman. I know we talked about the 10-meter split last week, and so he was the only person with a sub 2 second 2-meter split. Christian Coleman was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, and he looked good. He looked like as good as the classic Christian Coleman that I remember seeing. Obviously, the time isn't as fast as he's run because he's run some fucking insane sub 640 times.
647 facility record, world leads. So still some accolades on it, but. Definitely not as fast as we've seen him run.
Is that the world? Because didn't Trayvon Rommel run? Was this maybe before that? Trayvon Rommel ran like 642 somewhere else, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. So maybe this was only a world lead for a very short period of time.
Right.
Where did Rommel run that? Was that at the Copernicus Cup?
I think that was somewhere in the US, but not Millrose Games, which is weird.
Yeah, I was wondering why he wasn't there. Like, I suppose,
it was just at an invitational in Clemson.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. It's just like a collegiate meet.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the people who seems to excel more when he can like get out ahead and just like lead the whole race instead of worrying like about pressure. So that was probably good for him in terms of obviously the time is fast. I saw a tweet by Michael Johnson who was like, it doesn't matter they ran faster unless he beats Noah Lyles on the same track. It isn't avenged.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely think that he's right about that. I mean, you can run fast times all you want. And it definitely for him, it's a big confidence boost. But like at the end of the day, you got to be able to win championships. And as far as I know, I mean, he doesn't have like the medals yet. He doesn't have that gold hanging around his neck. Lyles does. So
true. Lyles does. So does Coleman. So he's got some work to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. I mean, cool to see that he's still running fast.
Yeah. What I would really like to see is the two fast starters, Trayvon Rommel versus Christian.
Oh yeah.
Coleman. I mean, like
that would be awesome.
I don't know who, like, it's anyone's race really at that point.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you were talking about Coleman when he was dropping like 638s, that might have been a different question. But with him coming back from like not the best 2022, and Rommel seeming to have a pretty good season so far. I think it would be a pretty close matchup at this point.
Yeah. So maybe we'll see that down the line towards the end of the season.
Yeah. I actually didn't even realize that he had come back from the ban because he had such a like forgettable last year because he didn't even make the team, and I think he was like 6th in the national championships.
Yeah.
But looks like he's trying to make the team this year.
I'm all for it. I'm a Christian Coleman fan.
Mm-hmm.
I was drinking that Kool-Aid when he was running 6'3", a couple years ago.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, can't ignore that. Abby Steiner, women's 300.
Yes. Oh yes.
35:54 national record, world lead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a freaking fast time. She was just off. Like, I don't think there's anyone even close.
Actually, I did watch the video from that one, and Brittany Brown actually gave her a run for her money for quite some time. Literally for about 250 meters, and then just coming off the final turn, Abby sort of pulled away. So I'm really interested to see, like, if Brittany can hold on for just that extra time, like that's already a super strong 200 that she put together, and then just kind of got locked up towards the end. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Abby Steiner, sort of beating her by more than half a second sort of says that she's got the strength right now. But yeah, super exceptional race.
Right. Do you know where that stands in terms of like the top times ever?
Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, so this, the story of the Millrose Games this past weekend was American records sort of out the wazoo. So this was one of many. And I don't know where that ranks. As one of the probably less competed disciplines, the 300, I would suspect that it wouldn't surprise me to say that was at least top 10, maybe better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it looks like that was number 3 all time. With there's two other faster times, one by Mila Weibo, and then another one very long ago, 1993 by Irina Privalova from Russia.
Gotcha.
But yeah, she's up there.
Nice. Well, that's a good mark. I wonder whether there's talk of her doing the 4. Like, do you think this is her just doing volume training for the 2, or is it sort of like working up to the 4?
I don't know if she's gonna seriously want to run compete at within the 4 in like a major championship, but I heard interviews that she definitely wants to run some 4s in this in the season. So
I would say, like, personally, it's inadvisable for her to run the 400, especially now that I think Sydney's jumping down to the 4.
Oh, that's right.
From the 4 hurdles, like no one's going to beat Sydney in an open 4. No one is going to beat Sydney in an open 4.
Yeah.
No one is going to beat Sydney in an open 4.
Like the best.
Tell me I'm wrong about that.
I don't know if you're wrong. I would tend to agree with you that probably she would come out ahead. But it's always interesting to see it when you have like 2 athletes that are like at the top of their game going head to head. So I would want to see that race.
Well, and I would always put Shauna Miller-Weibo in that conversation as well. Like, you never know what she's capable of, especially in a championship 400.
She's having a baby right now, but that's gonna be one fast baby, but yeah.
yeah. The child of
but yeah, I don't think she's in this season.
And Shauna Miller-Weibo, that exceptional 2-4 doubler.
Right.
Nice.
But yeah, I agree with that. In any other year, I would not leave her out of the equation.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. I mean, certainly she's if Abby Steiner can do the 300 effectively now, then that's only going to make her 200 stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
The season. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she intends to seriously pursue the 4 this season at least, but it will be nice to see what kind of times she crops and how that transfers over to the 200.
Yeah. All right, men's shot put, only 4 competitors, but boy was
the big man.
Boy was there one big man. Ryan Krauser, 22:58, world lead meet record, facility record. And what a heave it was. He had 3 fair marks out of 6. The 22:58, 22:50 in the first round, as well as a 21:98 in the 5th round. So just like a really solid series by him. No one was even close. He beat second place Joe Kovacs by more than a meter. So he's looking good. Another shout out I want to give is my man Nick Ponzio from the Italian.
I love that guy.
Did not throw well, but always does so stylishly. So he's got that big man energy.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, impressive performance from Ryan Krauser. It's interesting to see that Joe Kovac only had his first round throw legal. Looks like, I don't know if you were just like not happy with the rest of them or a combination of that and fouls, but not having the best start to his season.
Yeah. I only saw the winning throw just sort of on like a
Yeah,
highlight
same.
reel. And I thought it was really interesting that they have like they do the throws like in the middle of the track.
Yeah.
Because they do have a shot put ring there.
Yep.
So you'd think that they do that, but I don't know if maybe it's like not long enough for these guys to be heaving it or what. Or maybe they just sort of want to like center the field events as best they can. I'm not quite sure. But
yeah, I did notice that because they were like literally looking for markings like on the track, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how difficult that is, especially if like you've got lines and everything all over the place. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the reason was that they're trying to highlight field events more, then I'm all for that. I think that's great.
Yeah. Just want a quick bounce over to the women's shot put as well. Chase Ely, this is another just like 4 participants, small field. So Chase Ely over 20 meters, 20:03 world lead meet record, facility record. And this early in the season, that's pretty good. That's a bomb. Second place, Sarah Mitten from Canada, 1952. And then Maggie Ewan and Jessica Woodard rounding out the field. So pretty solid throws from Chase Ely early in the season as well.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that's super impressive for the first meet.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else we got? Women's 60. Elia Hobbs again, been continues the winning streak. I think this is 3 in a row for her. The 7:04.
I think so.
Facility record. Tamara Davis in second place, 7:08. And then Mary Beth St. Price, 7:11. First season's best for her. It looks like Kenny Harrison's still doing the 60s to work on her speed.
Yeah, try and work on those block starts. I think something else we'll talk about in the second half of this episode is what happened at the Copernicus Cup. And I think there were a lot of Europeans that effectively had a pretty solid showing in the women's 60 this. So we could talk about that as well. But so it seems like this is Aaliyah Hobbs's season so far.
Yeah, at least in the 60. I know that in the 100 she hasn't had as much success, but
yeah.
And it's then good to see that she's dominating these. Yeah.
Well, no, go ahead.
No. I think that was the end of my point.
Well, something else that I wanted to mention was the women's pole vault, just kind of briefly. So we had formerly Katie Najot, now Katie Moon, first place, 481, season best for her. She had pretty solid, a clean card up until 481, and then 3 misses at 492. Was the only one to take jumps at that bar. We had newbie to us, Bridget Williams, back in second place, 476. So that, and then Katerina Stefanidi in third. So solid showing for pole vault. Sort of wanted to highlight that performance real quick.
No, that's super good to see that she's jumping like high 4s.
Yeah.
Do you know if there's like, I wonder what 492 is, that like the national record or something?
I'm not sure. No, yeah, that's a good question. Let's see.
Maybe PR.
Maybe a PR. Yeah. Because I would think that the national record for us here in the US is probably pretty high. Hold on, sorry, I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because of folks like Sandy Morris and
that's true. I think she's definitely gone 490s.
I know Jen Schur had a real solid career as well. So but I think it's about 5 meters or so. So I'm not sure why the bar was specifically 492. Maybe she just was kind of looking to get that indoor PR for herself.
Got you.
But good to see her back on top.
For sure. I think we pretty much covered. Oh, there's Laura Muir in the women's mile.
How can you forget? Yes. And that
That
was
was
an
a
exciting
very
race as
interesting race.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last lap was a battle for her, I think, but she showed her
Yeah.
strength coming
Last
through.
lap sparks.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone listening, I would recommend watching the video for this one, because Laura Muir kind of did what she did, and she led for essentially the entire race. And then with about 400 left, actually ended up getting passed by Josette Andrews, I believe it was, who ended up
Yep.
getting second. And then just kind of gutted it out on the last 200, the last lap, and ended up taking the dub. So Laura Muir in first place, 4:20.15. And Josette Andrew in 4:20.88 right behind her. So that, yeah, it's another exciting race, and just, yeah, a testament to her strength.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out at the end there, but she was really giving it her all.
Yeah, she's definitely got guts. But yeah, I think that about does it for the Millrose Games. I mean, it's always an exceptional meet, and we certainly did see some exceptional things. Hope we can see Noah kind of get back to form in the 60.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that's what he's working on, like an indoor, again, with him going for the double and 100 and 200.
Yeah.
I mean, this is his time to get really, really good in the blocks. And if you're false starting, that's not going to help the confidence. So, just
That's
hope
true.
to get back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as you said, it was just nerves with, Kristen Coleman, one of the all-time best starters, right next to him. So,
Yeah.
exactly. What do you think Fred Curley's up to?
What do I think Fred Curley's up to? Well, that's a great question. And I'm actually I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he posts a lot of videos with him just working out, getting fit,
Okay.
Just vibing and training, as far as I know. But he's as confident, he's as cool as a cucumber as ever. So I expect that, when outdoor comes, he'll be ready. But he's not much of an indoor guy, I suppose.
Right,
so.
right.
What I would love to see is, of course, the 4-way matchup between the three guys that we mentioned earlier, and you throw Fred Curley in the mix.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's not typically thought of as a starter in the 60 either. But of course, no one ever expected him to be literally the world champion in the 100. So,
yeah,
exactly.
I mean, and if you have Noah Lyles in there, who also, historically has been more of a late finisher, I don't see any reason that Fred Curley couldn't jump in there and see what he's got.
Yeah. Fred Curley. Gotta love him.
Love the guy.
All right. You want to jump over to Europe?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So we've also got the Orland Copernicus Cup in Poland, in Torun. Yep. And the first thing that kind of jumps out at me is we saw Daniel Roberts in the 60-meter hurdles, the American, of course. But yeah, kind of took the top mark of the day there in 7:46. I believe it was competed in 2 heats, but yeah, just sort of kind of easily was able to win the day in the final. And so 7:46 for him over the Cuban Roger Iribarne in 7:49. And so yeah, I mean, good to see Roberts kind of getting over the hurdles quick. He's always got such smooth form. Although I do think that he did sort of hit one of the hurdles in the middle there, but was able to maintain form. So
okay. Nice. Yeah, good to see him take the W there. Wonder why he decided to go to Europe instead of competing at Millrose Games.
I'm not sure whether they competed the hurdles.
Oh, did they not have
that was a highly billed event?
Yeah.
I think at some point you did mention to me that, yeah, they competed the women's hurdles, but I didn't see anything about men's hurdles.
You're right. Yep. That makes sense.
So maybe that's why he sort of chose to
makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that jumped out at me when I was looking at the Copernicus Cup results was our boy Tintoglu in the men's long jump.
The Greek
man. 8:40, which I don't know if this is a season opener, but that's still a very healthy mark this early in the season. And a mark that actually has won or podiumed at World Championships and Olympics in the past couple of years. So
yep. And in particular, in the indoor, I think it's pretty common for jumpers to kind of still be working things out in indoor.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you're Zongo, who can jump 18 meters indoors. But yeah, I mean, that's a big mark, especially so early in the season. And then we've got Tobias Montler in second at 8:17.
Yeah.
So that's another big one for him as well.
True. Yeah, 8:17 I think is definitely one of his stronger marks. Dendy is in fourth over there with 7:84. I believe he jumped over 8 at a different meet, or was that here?
I thought that was at a different meet as well. I couldn't say which one it was.
Yeah.
He actually tied Michael Masso, the Cuban, for 7:84. So Masso must have had him on second best jumps.
Yeah.
So maybe the bucket hat was slowing Dendy down a little
bit. Oh man, him and his bucket hat.
It's
become it's somewhat of a classic with him now.
Well, and it was, speaking of Michael Johnson tweets, I think at one point, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, but Dendy jumped in his bucket hat, and Michael Johnson was like something along the lines of, if you're not going to jump far, like, don't wear the hat. Or
that's honestly that's fair.
I'm not saying that he doesn't jump well when he wears the hat, but I don't know why he wears it.
I don't know. You got to do what you got to do, stand out, I guess, and like build your brand. But performance first is. I agree with Michael Johnson on that.
Yeah.
Eusebio Caceres with 7:23 in last place. I just recognize the name. I feel like this guy's like a million years old at this point, and he's still competing.
Well, if you look at his birth date compared to everyone else's, which they have listed here, that's right. 1998, 96, 99, and then his is 1991. So he's much older than
31, which is
field.
Which is pretty old for I don't know. I feel like with the long jump and the triple jump, you generally have younger people find success because of the tolls of the bend in your joints.
Yep. Tell me about the women's 60.
Yeah, so a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of big names in the women's 60. Kambunji, Daryl Nita from Great Britain, Swoboda from Poland, Kayla White from the USA. So Kambunji took the win with 7:06, which is pretty fast. Pretty
solid. I'll note that, for that day, for that week, Aaliyah Hobbs was still fastest at 7:04, but
that's right.
That's essentially a convertible time.
Yeah. Yeah, so going down the list, Swoboda was in second with 7:11 for her, and then Kayla White for the US in 7:13, and actually tied on time with Daryl Nita with 7:13, but looks like she got the edge of the photo finish.
Now, if I remember correctly, Swoboda last year was like magic indoors.
Yeah.
And then I sort of didn't hear much about her outdoors last year. So I'm curious if she's just kind of like basking in the sun of indoors once again this year.
Yeah, I think she's generally had much more success in the 60 than the 100. Like looking at her record over here, she has got a couple of medals at the European Indoor Championships. She actually won it in 2019 in Glasgow over 60 meters, but hasn't had much success in the 100 recently, at least. Yeah.
Right. And then we've also got Kambunji, I believe, defending world indoor champion, if I'm not mistaken about that. So she is looking like she's in good form once again, and be curious to see how she progresses from indoor to outdoor as well.
Yeah. We see she seems to be pretty versatile. I think she's done well in the 100 and the 200. I think most recently, I believe she got a bronze in Doha in the 200. So she's always like in the mix, and sometimes ends up with a medal, sometimes doesn't. But
and if I'm not mistaken, we've got her sister in the 60 hurdles.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Which I'm not sure was competed here at this meet, but yes, with both of them. Oh, actually, they did compete that. at this meet, the women's 60-meter hurdles. I see her sister Kim Bunji also in the hurdles event, but yeah, good for them. What else we got? I want to take a moment to talk about the women's 800. I forgot Keely Hodgkinson's name a couple minutes ago, but she did take the dub here. Pretty quick 1:57.87. Really, really solid race from her. We had Urigo from no, I should know that flag. And then in 1:58.48, who also had a phenomenal race. So Yarigo in second place. Yeah, she was looking phenomenal as well. But ultimately, the day belonged to Keely Hodgkinson, and 1:57.87 is pretty solid. To dip under 2 minutes indoors, I would say, is usually the bar, but sub 1:58 so early is really incredible. So yeah, they both had really, really solid days, solid performances. And watching that video, they were separated from the field by wide margins. So that was exciting as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it seems like in general we're seeing a lot of very impressive early season indoor times, despite the fact that there's no like indoor world championships this year.
Yeah. I think folks at this point, it's not really about like peaking for indoor anymore. They're sort of just like getting stuff on their calendars, checking their fitness, and clearly, I mean, like people are fit, so
yeah,
have been wanting to probably hop back on the track since outdoors in August. So
right. I mean, it's definitely a special couple of years because they'll have World Championship 2022 again in 2023, and then we have the Olympics next year. So pretty packed outdoor calendar, which usually doesn't end up happening.
For sure.
I don't know if there's anything else of note in the Copernicus Cup. Did you see anything?
Oh, just kind of scrolling. I think one thing that I did want to highlight actually is that Gudov Tsegay in the women's mile ran 4:16, which if you remember from just a few minutes ago is nearly 4 seconds faster than Laura Muir.
That's right.
20. So Gudov Tsegay, I don't remember what exactly the world record mark in that event is, but I mean, could challenge for the indoor world record in the mile, which is just like super exciting. And yeah, she always just runs really impressive indoors and outdoors, is a versatile sort of mid to long distance athlete. So Gudov Tsegay, the Ethiopian in 4:16.16 is again just another super impressive mark that I wanted to highlight real quick.
Agreed.
This can't be right. Is there also a 15? Did she run that as well? At the very bottom of the page?
I think sometimes what they do is they do like a 1500 en route, like they'll stop the they measure the time at the 15 just so that you have that.
Okay. All right.
En route to the mile. Yeah.
Well, clearly she was miles away from everyone else at the time too, but no, that was kind of all I wanted to mention for this one. And then yeah, tell me what else we wanted to mention.
I think there's a few Femke highlights at the last meet that we wanted to talk about, but another thing I just remembered, there was also the Asian Indoor Championships, I think.
Oh, sweet.
A couple of days ago, and we had an Indian, Jasmine Aldrin, win second place in the long jump with 7:97, which
nice.
It's a very solid jump for him. It's just good to see that the Indian athletic team is kind of having this like renaissance now with like these young athletes, obviously led by Neeraj Chopra, but they're doing special things. They're qualifying for World Championships final. They're like winning medals in the Asian Games. So it's just good to see, and I'm excited to see what he'll do as the season progresses.
Awesome. What do you think? I mean, like, what is typically the thing that javelin throwers like Neeraj do at this point in the season?
Oh man,
Do they
I don't know. He's
like,
been doing all kinds of wonky stuff in the gym. I'm always looking at him like in some kind of weird athletic position with a medicine ball in his hands. So I don't know what he's doing.
yeah, that's sort of his like, that's his money maker is the shot of
Yeah.
him, like, you know, with the arched back, like all the way
Yeah.
back. Yeah. But like, do they typically have, I don't know, do they typically have javelin throwers like throw anything else, or they just don't usually throw in indoor?
That's a great point. I don't know. I guess, you know, in our experience, we you know, in the D3 program that we were at, we obviously had people double up in indoor events, but
Yeah.
it looks like at, you know, at the world class level, I haven't noticed them, you know, compete in other indoor throwing events.
Because it's not really transferable, especially with other indoor
No.
events. I mean, you basically only have shot put or, you know, the weight throw, and neither one of those is really even the same motion as the javelin throw. So
Yeah. Typically, the, you know, the body type is also vastly different.
yeah, yeah. What other event would you like to see Chopra do, even if it's not a throwing event? What do you, with all that bendiness, that the arch, like, what do you
Oh
think he could
man,
do with that?
I don't know.
You think he
He
could?
just
You
like
think he
has
could do
like the
pole
perfect.
vault? Like, could we get him on a like, just like a Schmoll would say, like a soup, like a tree trunk of a pole, and
I
just get him to like swing up?
I think he could, you know, like because I see him do a lot of plyometric work, and he's very
Mhm.
like bouncy and like powerful for a thrower. So I actually think he could be good at like a vertical, like, you know, pole vault probably would be actually the best choice for him. I think, given that, you
Mm.
know, it's not, you do have the assist of the pole,
Yeah,
and he's like decently fast, I think, also. So yeah,
yeah,
it would be cool to see him compete
yeah.
in
He
that.
probably could absolutely like push a pole and really
Yeah.
challenge from it.
But yeah, I mean, he does have like a very stereotypical like javelin thrower's body. Uh,
Right. Yeah. Super long arms, like big
yeah.
chest. Yeah.
Yep. All
Um,
right. Femke Bull.
Femke Bol, sub 50 seconds in the indoor 400. And this is at Metz,
Yep.
which I believe is in France. I didn't see any other, like, you know, any other big. Oh, I do see that this is actually where Dendy jumped 801.
Ah, I see.
So it was at this meet was where he jumped 8 meters.
Okay.
But yeah, big story on the day there was Femke Bol, 49.94, I believe.
Mm.
Which, yeah, is just like super solid.
Yeah. I mean, she's going from strength to strength. Um,
Strength to strength. Nice. Yeah, I like that turn phrase.
yeah, I think didn't she also run the two? Was it at the same meet, or yeah, it was the same meet, 22.87 in the two.
Nice.
So she's got the speed and the,
Cool.
you know, strength.
Awesome. Yeah. I think one thing I also noticed is that Yaroslava Mahuchek, the Ukrainian,
Mm,
in the high jump, she jumped 2 meters 02, if I'm not
that's super
mistaken about
solid.
that, which is just wonderful. Yeah, good to see
Looks
that.
like yeah,
Go for
that's
it.
good to see. I mean, she's been a prominent name in the high jump for the past couple of years, and you know, over two is pretty solid already.
Yeah. Well,
Especially
and we talked about this with the Syrian high jumper. When your country is at war,
yeah,
there's so many other things to be thinking about, and so
for
to
sure.
still perform at such a high level is just really just like, I suppose, a testament to personal strength.
That's so true. Yeah.
Not to get too political, I suppose, but you know,
No, it's definitely it's a hard thing
got
to
to use our
balance.
platform, right?
Yeah.
To all our thousands of
All
fans
our
that are listening to this.
three subscribers. Yeah. um, I'm also seeing in this article that it looks like Halima Nakai uh, ran 159.18 in the 300. I mean, in the 800.
Nice.
Um, so what to take the win there. So as you said, you know, sub two, pretty
Yeah,
solid.
getting under that sub 2 barrier.
Yep.
Very impressive. I mean, this shows me that I should just try maybe pay attention to more at European athletics events.
Yeah,
Because
I feel
if
like
I'm not mistaken, this is not necessarily like a World Athletics sanctioned event, or perhaps it's just not like a gold level event.
Yeah, apparently it's a World Athletics Indoor Tour silver meeting.
Okay.
So yeah, still like, I guess, accredited with World Athletics, but yeah, you're right. There's a lot of random meets that go on that simultaneously with the US meet that maybe don't get as much coverage. I'm sure like the Instagram accounts that we follow are also like heavily American run and biased. So maybe we get those.
Yeah.
We stay more up to date with those. But yeah, something to keep in mind.
I do try to stay up to date with European athletics, but yeah, this is one that really just like the biggest story from what I heard was Femke Bowles.
Yeah.
400. So yeah, very exciting. I think maybe one of these days we'll have to get to the bottom in terms of like what actually the difference is between like gold level versus silver level meets.
Yeah, I think we should probably talk about that. I know there's a lot of opinions about that also.
My guess is that it has something to do with qualification standards and points and things like that. But
yeah, I don't know. I definitely have to look more into it before commenting, but it just doesn't seem like, given the equipment, the timing equipment and the measuring equipment and all like are standard. I don't know why you would weight one more than the other.
Well, and if you've got the same caliber of athlete
that
are attending silver events as gold events, I mean, like, probably it doesn't matter all that much, or maybe it shouldn't matter all that much. And
that's right.
Does.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a counterpoint to that would be that I don't think that any of the new like ranking systems I've not seen like an athlete, like a prominent athlete, get dropped or like haven't qualified like to a world championship or Olympic event because of the new ranking system. So I don't know, maybe it works, but
yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely have to look more into that. Dude, by the way, Seb Coe was at the Boston meet.
Oh yeah,
he was just like strolling around. Yeah.
Did you say hello to him?
I should have. I should have been like, "Yo, what's up with these freaking standards?"
Yeah, seriously. Speaking of, are you talking about the entry standards for the Olympics?
No, I was talking about the rankings, but I saw they just posted that. Yeah, the entry standards. I know there was a lot of uproar about like how competitive they were.
A lot of hubbub about that. I mean, just like an event that we know well, the men's long jump, the entry standard is technically 8:27,
which is,
and again, like that is like
that's like a podium.
You have to make the final, like that's top 5 performance.
Exactly.
At most Olympic games, and yet it's technically the qualification standard.
Similarly for the triple jump, I mean, 1722 is top 8, if not top 5 in in the recent past.
Right.
So
what that means is probably most athletes competing at the games will not hit the standards,
right?
But rather will be allowed to compete because of entry points and world rankings, and also I believe that just like there are many nations that just like by default have
wild card and stuff,
wild cards and things like that. So I think like there have been a lot of people that sort of complain about this, because like, why would you make the standards that high if like most people aren't going to achieve that anyway?
Yeah, I mean, it would be one thing if the standards are like going, high, corresponding to like the average performances over the past couple of years, but at least in the jumps, that definitely doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, long jump has definitely been like in kind of a slump, at least for the past like 5 to like even 10 years. But the mark keeps going up. So
yeah. Meanwhile, I think so in like men's shot put or women's shot put, the standards are 2150 and 1880 respectively. And I think that those are marks that many athletes could hit, if I'm not mistaken about that. So on the one hand, you've got marks like 827, which again just maybe shows how what kind of a slump long jump is in right now for the on the men's side. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like difficult to kind of set like where the standard is at for the time versus where we sort of expect for it to be.
I I don't know if it was for world championships or other meets, but I have seen in the past that they would just use like, I don't know, sixth place or eighth place from the previous from previous edition to determine the qualifying marks. But I don't know if it's as simple as that here, or what kind of algorithm they're using under the hood to calculate these.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I would just like to point out that for the women's 400-meter hurdles, the qualifying standard is 54:85, which is fast. Like that's that's a fast time. But Sydney ran 50.68.
That's so insane.
That is nearly a full 4 second. That is more than 4 seconds faster than the qualification standard. Which for an event like the 400 hurdles is just redonkulous. It's crazy.
That is actually insane. Oh my God. That just shows us how spoiled we have been with her and her times that she's been dropping.
In fact, okay, so that's faster than the flat 400 qualification standard.
Holy shit.
The women's flat 400 qualification standard is 50.95.
Oh my God.
Time of 50.68 would qualify for the Olympics. Dude, in the
you should tweet that.
Oh my God.
That's actually insane.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Oh my gosh, you can literally run over hurdles and qualify for the flat 4. Well, Sydney McLaughlin, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh boy. Yeah. All right. So I think that's all I've got for this time around. But
yeah. Same here.
I think we'll be back again shortly, right?
Yeah, we gotta look at the calendar, see what's up next, but there's definitely some stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Close us out.
This has been Watch the Clock. Oh my God, sorry. I don't mean to cut up the outro, but literally when what's his name? The guy who won the mile in Millrose Games.
Yard Nagoose.
Yeah. He was like on the final stretch and the commentator was like, watch the clock.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
I always love it when we get shout outs from commentators unwittingly.
I know, right? Unwittingly. We should sue them. Just kidding. All right, yeah. Well, this has been Watch the Clock. I'm Ananth.
I'm Dom.
Anyone wants to sponsor
us, like if anyone wants to make us t-shirts, I would love that.
Absolutely.
All right. Hell yeah.